great. So what you've seen this evening, this film you saw this evening, has a historical significance, and I'm about to point it out to you. The Star Wars began, and it made like $1 billion when it opened up for 20th Century Fox, and so in my imagination, I see a half a dozen people sitting around a table at Paramount Studios, and they're saying, don't we have something like Star Wars? Because we had been canceled, and it was 6 years later or a few years later, Star Wars came out, and these studios compete like neighbors across the street. No, mine's bigger than yours, bigger. So the studio heads, about the third generation of studio heads since Star Trek, because they change every couple of years based on how much money they made for the studio. And so in my imagination, I'm seeing a half a dozen guys sitting around the table, and they're saying, what have we got? What have we got that can equal Star Wars? And in my imagination, I see a little guy pouring coffee, and he's saying, have you ever seen this Star Trek? And they say, what? And they don't know it's Star Trek. Paramount had Star Trek, and there was this wonderful actor called William Shatner. And they said, no, Star Trek, what Star? So they look at Star Trek, and they say, okay, this is what we'll do. We'll make a big movie of Star Trek. Let's get the biggest, best director we can find. So